All right. Welcome to Algebra 2, Unit 2, Lesson 3. We're going to really quickly just go ahead and talk about linear applications. And naming this formula on this page is going to be requiring us to use the y equals mx plus b, which is a slope-intercept formula. Slope, which is the m value, right there, is the number that's being used over and over again. We're going to apply the slope multiple times, and all starting after we placed the y-intercept down on the graph, and we only use that number once. Okay, so the quick example is a catering company will provide food for a party for a charge of $15 per guest, plus a fixed charge of $200. Now the per guest is, that's going to be the slope. Anytime you see the word per, it's going to indicate a number that's changing repeatedly, and that's the number that's going to be used for the slope. A fixed charge is a one-time charge. Okay, it's kind of like our y-intercept, only used once. So the linear equation we'd use is y equals 15x plus 200. Okay, let x represent the number of guests that show up. Okay, and let y represent the total charge that includes the guest plus the fixed charge. Okay, again, what does the slope represent? The charge per guest, and the y-intercept represents the initial charge or one-time charge or the setup charge that a catering company would charge to get you going. Okay, another example is this is right here. Okay, I'm going to move this around. Okay, Frontier Auto Shop has a standard charge of $12 standard $12 shop charge for every job it takes. In addition, the mechanic working on the job charges $20 per hour. Okay, again, there's an initial fee and then the fee used over and over again. You're only charged the shop fee one time, and you charge the hourly rate multiple times. So this is going to be your slope. That's your y-intercept. We go ahead and write it just like this. Okay. So using the equation that we just created, y equals 20x plus 12. Okay. Calculate the cost of the job. Well, if you just bring the car in and then you say, oh, wait a minute, I want to pull it back out, they're going to charge you $12 because that's the charge just to get the car into the garage to get it looked at. Okay. Well, if the mechanic works on it for 5 hours, okay, 5 times 20 is 100 plus 12 is 112. And same thing for 8 hours. You just put 8 into the equation and get 172. Okay. Next one. Okay. Is right here. An equation that contains the relationship for the cost of cereal and the number of ounces it contains is C equals 0.15n plus 0.50. Well, what does the slope represent? Well, that's the cost per ounce. Okay, you're not going to get charged the cost per box. It's going to be charged because the bigger boxes cost more than the smaller boxes. Okay, so the slope represents the cost per ounce. Well, what does a y-intercept represent? Well, you're not going to just walk in there and grab a fistful of cereal. You're going to get it in a box. So the cost of making the empty box itself has got something associated with it. Okay. Next one. Okay, this one's a little bit tricky, but something more along the lines of something you guys will see in real life. Okay, Jessica can earn $200 per week selling shoes at Pretty Feet Shoe Salon. Okay, she receives an extra $10 for each pair she sells over 5 that week. Okay, write an equation that represents her weekly salary if she sells over 5 pairs. Well, the equation would be this. Okay, 10 represents the amount in the bonus she earns after she sells more than 5. Okay, we write it as x minus 5. Okay, plus 200. So 200 represents her base salary. Okay, this is the bonus. Okay, and we all know that if you sell 7 shoes, well, she only earns 2 shoes in the bonus, so she earns a 220. At 5 pairs, she hasn't earned any bonus yet because she receives money over 5. Okay, 10 pairs, she earns 5 shoes in the bonus, which gives us 250. And if she sells no shoes that week, she still gets $200. So this equation represents that particular piece right there. All right, and x represents the total number of shoes sold, but note that y is always going to equal 200 if x is less than or equal to 5. Okay, that's one way of looking at this equation. Make sure that we subtract out the number that gets us to the bonus, and we also leave a limit for the domain. Okay. The next part is we're going to go ahead and write equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay. So number one says Write an equation whose y-intercept is 2 and is parallel to this one. Well, first thing we do is figure out what the equation is. Well, or the m for this equation is, if the m is right there, 1/3, parallel m is going to be identical to this m. And since we've got the y-intercept and our slope, we can just put it in slope-intercept form, and there we go right there. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is, well, if we've got a point, okay, it says find the equation of the line that's got that contains this point, 3, -5, and is perpendicular to this equation. Well, we use the equation that we had last time. It's the opposite of a over b, which is 2 over 4, reduced down to 1/2. Okay? And I always like to write parallel m, perpendicular m, so I've got all the equations that I know. Parallel m is the same as regular m. Perpendicular, we get the negative reciprocal. That means we flip it upside down and change the sign. All right? Well, we were looking for the perpendicular, so we're going to use the perpendicular m. Okay, now there's the equation right here. It's called a point-slope formula because it allows us to use a point and a slope to get the equation. Okay? I've made parentheses where we're going to stick in the numbers. So the -5 goes there, the 3 goes there, and the -2 from the slope goes there. We'll work it down, and that's our equation. Okay. Well, on this one, it says give us an equation whose intercept is -4 and is parallel to this one. So again, the first thing I do is find the slope of this line, and which turns out to be the opposite of 7 over -2. Reduce that, get rid of the negatives. And again, parallel m is the same as the original m, and perpendicular m is the opposite. Okay. Well, this time we're looking for parallel. Okay, I made a mistake while doing this and put in perpendicular, but make sure you read the question. We're looking for parallel. Circle that one. Okay. And now, how did I come up with this point? Well, x-intercept is going to be -4. That means it crosses at -4, 0. So that's how I came up with the 0 and the -4 there. Again, plug it into our formula right there. And we work this part out. Work it out, and we get y equals 7 over 2x plus 14. Okay. Next one, let's move this up a little bit. Number 4. Okay. Give us an equation of a line that contains a point 1, -2, and is perpendicular to the line that contains this. Well, we've got no line over here, so we're going to use these 2 points and come up with the slope. Okay. So the shortcut that I came up with, again, put one point on top of the other, and say, well, how does this number get to this number? 0 minus 4 gets me to -4, so that's -4 there. 3 minus 1 gets me to, there you go. So this number, this is the y number, it goes on top, the x number goes on bottom. We simplify by getting rid of the negatives, we get that. Again, m, parallel m, perpendicular m. Okay. This time we're looking for perpendicular m, so make sure we put in -4. Okay. And again, I plug it straight into this formula again, which is our point-slope formula. Okay. The -2 goes there, the 1 goes there, the -4 goes in there. Work it out, and we get y equals -4x plus 2. Yeah. And the last problem there, this contains point 6, -2, and is perpendicular to y equals -1. Wait a minute, y equals -1, I remember that. It's got no x's, so that means that's a horizontal line. M is equal to 0. Okay, well, what's a slope perpendicular to horizontal? Well, that's going to be a vertical line. Okay, the equation for the vertical line is x equals some constant. Well, x equals, well, what does x equal? X equals 6, so the equation is x equals 6, not -6 right there. X equals 6. All right, and this is the notes for Unit 2, Lesson 3 in Algebra 2. All right, thank you very much.